Hey guys, welcome to the Testing Academy. My name is Pramod, and in this video, we're gonna talk about the 41 important Postman interview question and answers. This is gonna be a two-part series where we will be learning about some of the important questions that generally people ask, and these are the questions that I personally ask in my interview sometimes whenever I take in certain companies, right? So let's jump into it without any ado and jump into the different questions. What are the questions that generally people ask related to API testing and Postman? Let's jump. All right, so let's get started. Let me make myself a little smaller so that you guys can see it better, right? All right, so let's start with the very important question, and sometimes people are confused about it. Why? Because the question is what exactly is Postman, right? And trust me, about 70% of the people just say that Postman is a API testing tool, and they are absolutely wrong. And basically, if you see, it is not an application. It is not an API testing tool, guys. First of all, it's not an API testing tool. Let me pull up my marker. Right, it's basically a collaboration platform for API development. Actually, it's a API development platform. If you see, and people say it's an API testing tool, but most of the time people use it for testing their APIs manually. I would say that's why people are a little confused that it's a application. It's a API testing tool, but no, it's not. Right? Basically a collaboration platform for to development of your APIs. It's basically a tool which they thought will be used by a developer, but right now it's also popular in software testers, right? That's the thing. It will help you to design, share, or build, test, or document your APIs, which is very important. Postman basically works with the STPP, and so it supports most of the protocols related to API like REST, SOAP, and GraphQL. Right? GraphQL is basically a bridge between the REST and SOAP. Uh, where if you talk about in curl supports, if you see here, right? Let me zoom out a little bit. Zoom. Zoom to fit. So, not bad. 75. Yeah. Okay. So if you see, yes. If you see the curl, right? Curl support number of protocols. It supports file transfer, STPPS, RMPTS, and very like it's a long list, right? But like Postman support REST, Post, and GraphQL. People ask this question: what kind of protocol or what kind of API you can test in Postman, right? So you can say REST, SOAP, and GraphQL as of now. Okay. You can check more about the curl at this link. So Postman, if you say you can use it's basically can use with automated testing, designing and mocking your APIs, workspaces, monitoring your API documentation and client. So it's again collaboration platform for API development. Simplest answer. All right. So let's jump into the second one, which is why we use Postman. And this is my favorite tool, my favorite question that I personally ask. It's easy and clean to use. First of all, if you want to do API testing, it's very easy and very clean tool. You can perform exploratory testing with your API. Basically, you can play around. You can have your negative test cases, positive test cases. You can apply boundary, equivalence, partition on your API test cases and try out a different combination with the Postman. You can use dynamic request. You can create collections, right? Workspaces, of course, there's a particular API that can be shared between developer and Postman, developer and tester. They can basically, if developer updates something, the tester can also check that. So that's an important thing. Of course, mocking, if your APIs are not ready, what you can do is that you can get a response from a developer and you can mock your APIs and write your test cases that we have discussed in the playlist section of API testing. You can check that. Right, you can write your test cases. Of course, you can use them with CI/CD with Newman. You can import the request as a curl, which is I think one of the most important feature of Postman. Again, you can directly import the request from your network tab of your Chrome, Firefox, or Safari directly into the Postman and use it or modify it, right? So that's why we use Postman. All right. I think we are good to go. And third question is when to use Postman. It basically means I'm just saying as a context of software tester, when you have few API requests, if you have very huge number of API requests that you want to automate, definitely go with the automation other tools like Rest Assured. In Python, you can go with PyRest and definitely start creating your custom, or you can say use other API testing frameworks rather than relying on the Postman. If you have very few sets of APIs, you want to have a very small collection that you want to play around, go with the Postman first. Okay. You don't want to manage code. If you are someone who don't like to manage code, definitely have in mind that Postman is probably the best tool for your API testing. Team is very little and not well versed with the code. And this happened when I was in one of the service company. So team was not aware about the coding and all. They are all manual testers, and that's why they prefer Postman at the time, because they had set of API. They wanted to test it. They have added the test case also in the Postman DSL. That's it. You want to cover the API test, small collection. That's, I think, one of the important. So you can, this question can also be done. Okay, what are the drawbacks of Postman? This is important thing, guys, and people pay attention to this. It's not suitable for the, I would say 10. This is just a number, guys. Don't curse me on that, but it's not suitable for larger API requests, right? If you have a collection more than 500, 600, it starts behaving slow. It is slow. Actually, it is not made to test like more than 500, 600 requests. I think for large project, it's very clumsy. Duplicacy of code will be there, duplicacy of requests will be there, and there will be lots of whenever you play around with the dynamic ones, right? It will be very hard to play around with this Postman tool. And sometimes I have seen performance issues with the Postman after we have like 2000 or 1000 plus API requests in our collections, right? So again, if you are someone who's going little advanced in API testing, go with the rest assured, PyTest, other things, okay? Right. So this is one advantage. Sometimes people ask you what is an API. I think I have covered extensively in my other videos of API testing with Postman. So, but I'm going to cover API stand for basically API application programming interface in a very simple manner. It's basically an interface like a waiter, which can basically help you to communicate between your client and chef. Here, client and chef are basically nothing but your front end and back end. You can basically communicate with them, right? So here specifically we are talking about the web services. APIs can also be in the operating system, but they are not web services, because web services basically means they are on the web, or you can say World Wide Web, right? W3. Right. If you want to learn more about the APIs, I would recommend to watch this video, because I have extensively created a 10-minute video to explain everything about APIs. Okay. All right, let's jump into these quickly to the sixth one, which is, can you tell the alternative Postman? Many times I have asked this question, and I have seen people get asked this question, because sometimes only one tool, which is Postman, most of the people know, right? So you can test your APIs in Catalan Studio, SOAP UI, AppGee, JMeter, Hopnotch. There are other also. There are lots of other, I mean, Insomnia, Postwoman, and other tools also, okay, guys. So there are very large number of alternatives of Postman in context of software testing. Okay, so if your context is development of API and all, definitely Postman will have more advantage over it. Okay. This is, I think, seventh question is basically what are the different types of STPP methods. Before moving to seventh question, guys, if you have any doubt related to the till 6, you can definitely put them in comment. I'll happy to reply all of them. Okay, don't worry. I'm here. I can reply on the question. And if you think there's a particular question that I have missed in the series, definitely comment down and I'll reply you on that. Okay. And we will include probably in the next video where we will cover the advanced questions of Postman. Okay. So of course, different HTTP methods, it's basically our get, post, put, patch, delete, option, and head. Most important thing, guys, the difference between post, patch, and put. People ask this number of times. Okay, so pay attention to this. Okay, can you test the SOAP request in Postman? Of course, yes, you can test that. Here is a demo if you want to look into it. It's a basically. Let me open this. Yeah, it's okay. So what exactly you can do is basically take this URL and import into your Postman as a link, right? So I have prepared a demo for you how you can play around with the SOAP request. Okay, you can check that. All right, let's move on to the GET request. I think GET request is very simple. It's basically used to retrieve the information for a given URL. Right, and the request using the GET should only be retrieve data and no other, right? So GET request basically is used to retrieve any kind of a data. It doesn't affect any kind of a data which is present in server, right? But whereas if we talk about post request, right? Post request basically can manipulate the data and create a new resource. Okay, you will ask me, Pramod, what is resource? Resource, it can be an image, it can be a data of a user, it can be student data, it can be an HTML document, it can be anything, right? So if you want to create a new resource at server, so let me give you a very simple example. Okay, this is uh, so this is your client and this is your server. You want to create a student in the server, you will do a post request. That's it. Okay, if you want to update anything, you will use a patch request. If you want to update the full person, then you will use a put request. And if you want to update only name, a few fields, you will do a patch. We have a patch, right? Sometimes if we get hurt, we put a patch on it, right? Something like this. So patch is basically means smaller updates or very few updates. Okay. Okay. So patch again, if you it's basically means partial update to the target resource. Okay. And put basically means replace all the values. Okay. And the difference between put is that sometimes suppose what I am saying is that there is a record of Amit student. It contains name, age, and phone number. I want so suppose I have made a put request, but resource was not there at the time. So it can create the new resource also. Okay, so difference between put and post. Whereas post will always create a new resource and give you a unique different ID, right, after generation. But put, it can replace the whatever that you are sending to the current one. Okay. If you are not able to understand everything, don't worry. API testing playlist, I think first or second session, I have covered with example on Postman. Don't worry about it. Delete is, I think, very simple. It's basically remove all the current representation of a target resource by directly on the URL. For example, there is a particular resource of Amit on the server. You want to delete it, do a delete request. That's it. And if we talk about head, which sometimes people ask, what exactly is this head request, right? It basically, it is very similar to the get request, but it only fetches the header information, which is again metadata about the request, right? What was the request and what is the response that is coming. So it will not contain the response. It will contain the response in a header manner. I mean, in the head. That's all. Okay. And how you can do it? You can do it by here. For example, when we do a particular, suppose let's open this. Here, you can do head. Okay. So suppose I will do a head request for this URL particular. Right? You will not see any body, only headers are returned. Let's say header call. Okay. Now let's jump into 15th one, which is basically how do you validate the API response. Of course, you will check your status report, status code, response body, headers, three major categories, and in response body, you can apply more testing, more API testing. Like for example, it can be your security related test cases, the boundary value, equivalence partition, logic failure, business logic, and everything. We can apply further testing in that case. Okay. Even with the status code also, you can check it out by negative and positive test case. For example, if you have entered a very wrong URL, what happens to the status code? This thing you can do test. Simple manner, other important scenarios I have covered in the API testing Postman tool, you can check it out. How do I import the request from, this is important question, guys. This is asked by many times, which is basically importing the request from DevTools to Postman. I think I have showed you this thing, which is very easy. What you can do is that you can go to your network tab, click on copy and copy as code. And after that, you can basically click on import raw text and just paste it here. Okay. And your request will be automatically added. Right. This one is important. Now let's come to the, what are the different different authentication supports by Postman? If you check it, there are number of authentication, which is Oauth, Basic, Digest, Barrier, AWS Sentinel, Auth1, Auth2, API key. There are lots of them, and you can check it here. Go to authorization tab, and here we have. Okay, so let's do one thing. Sometimes people ask this question, which is basic auth. What exactly it is? Basic auth is basically, if you see, authentication basically means if you want to access a particular request, for example, on a Google server, you want to access the record of a particular Gmail user, you cannot directly do it, right? They will not allow you through API, right? What you need is you need an authentication for that, right? So of course they don't have a basic auth, they will have a auth2 or auth1. But in basic auth, what happens is it's a authentication method, whereas username passwords are basically are sent as a by after decoding them into a base 64. So basically means if you select basic auth here, if you send it, right, hidden values, right? So if you see this, there is a particular header will be added, which is called as authorization, and this is your AA, which is basically converted into base 64, right? So again, it's an unsecure way, but people still are using it. So basic auth is nothing but a username, password, or any kind of a authentication sends at with by decoding them into a encoding them. Sorry, my bad. Encoding them into a base 64. Right? You can directly decode them also. If you decode this, it will be basically a comma a in a symbol. Okay. All right. Similarly, we have digest. Digest again, it's a little advanced than the basic, where username, password are sent after applying a particular cryptography, or you can say more decoding with the some kind of a hash function. It works in a very similar way. If you select digest, right, you can add your username, password again, and here you can add some other algorithm, like you can apply MT5, you can add nonce. It will basically encrypt it, and server can decrypt it. So there is no security issues between the sending the request. Okay, that's what we are more concerned. Read more about this right here. Bearer token, again, it's a type of a token that allow you to request to a particular authenticator using the TFWT. Similar thing, when we talk about bearer, it's a basically uh, you will have a particular token to access a particular request, right? So that's what we are doing here. This basically allow you to request to authenticate using an access key as a JSON web token, we call it, right? And what is Auth1, Auth2? I think I have covered extensively. They are basically a way in which internet user can grant their websites or application to basically get the information. Again, we need, our purpose is very simple, which is fetching the information, right? There are other different type of authorization method. You can check Auth1 and Auth2 on the respective uh, links, right? But I have explained them, especially Auth2 in the API testing Postman video also, if you want to check it out. All right. So that was it. So sometimes people ask you, they won't sometimes ask you about the Auth2 directly. What is Auth2? They will just ask you like, okay, how to do Auth2 in Postman. So here you can do it. Basically, go to click on this Auth2. You have to basically check any, if you don't have any token, you have to create any token. How you can create it? Check out the video of file upload in API testing using Postman, where I have uploaded a file using Auth2, where we have basically added all the URLs. After adding this URL, it will give you a token, and if you have a token, now you can use any API, right? So Auth2 is basically, you will register you will create an a app. That app will basically give you a token, and that token you can use it to access the API, right? And if your app got removed, everything is lost, and there is no sharing of username password in the network in a to be simple manner. Okay, how do you add headers? All right, I think guys, let's do one thing. Let's jump back with the video part 2.